crap. Well, I was going to do this. Hey, Underworld. I suppose I can still do this. It'd just be a chat stream. So, February 21st, 2020. A dream was achieved, and I had a perfect phrase for this. Oh, shoot. I can't remember. But, okay, so, you've seen the title. Dan Didio, who is the co-publisher at DC Comics, he has gotten the boot. He has been, I don't know if he's been fired or if he's stepping down, but he's out, and I'm celebrating. I'm happy about that, because he kept screwing up for everything. The one time when they were getting readers back, he screwed that up. There's a lot of readers losing a lot of readers over it, and and there was all the stuff, all the crap that he did to Wally West and Dick Grayson and Tim Drake and whoever else. So I'm happy. I might have to see, because I thought this would let me play Arkham City, even though, I mean, I guess all it can really do right now is just let me access the game. It has to finish download, because I re-downloaded this. I had deleted it, but I re-downloaded it so that way then I could do this stream and talk about this, and maybe even talk about this new 5G thing that DC Comics is going to be doing. So, because I woke up earlier, because it took me like a nap, or I was sleeping for a little bit, and I woke up and I checked my YouTube subscription thing, and I saw the video saying that he's been booted, and I'm like, thank heavens, thank goodness, you know. So I don't even think, I guess while this stream is going, I won't be able to it's just gonna keep, the time's gonna keep going further and further up, I guess, while this stream is going. I'm hearing they changed what 5G was going to be because they got scared of what will happen. From the get-go, from what I heard, when 5G was announced, there was already people like quickly saying after that 5G wasn't going to be a permanent thing. It was just going to be like, it wasn't going to be like, they probably heard after what Marvel did with some of their stuff. And it was like, this will just be for a little bit, so then they can have a lineup of books and stuff. So personally, if 5G can just, like, if they can keep some of the existing characters and just have it be just a lineup of books for like existing diverse characters that they've had, then I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, and if this is just for a little while, it won't be that much of a problem. I mean, personally, I would love a new Cassandra Cain Batgirl book, or for what's his name, Gene Yang, I think is his last name. He has a middle name, Luen Yang, I think. I'd like it if he could come back to continue what he wrote with New Superman and the Justice League of China, because there was more that he had planned for that. He had more planned for that, but because of what happened with Bendis, Bendis like took over the main two Superman books. He took over Superman. He took over Action Comics. Supergirl for about a month or two was briefly canceled during this, and then they brought that comic back with I think a new writer. Until I think they said now in solicitations, I think issue 42 is going to be the last issue for this Supergirl book or Supergirl Rebirth or whatever. Um, and Tomasi was very lucky to get the maxi series, the Adventures of the Super Sons maxi series, which I finally started reading through right now because I've had the issues for a while. Um, so I mean, literally all the Superman stuff got screwed in some way, and then another thing was because uh, yes, New Superman and then New Superman the Justice League of China had low sales. It had like 10 to 12,000 like copies would be shipped. Um, Although to be fair, it was actually a really good book because I have all 24 issues collected because that was one thing I thought was really it sounded really interesting, and I got that. So I have those issues, and I think I have an issue of Supergirl where Kenan showed up, or the new Superman of China, whatever, showed up. I think the only issue that I'm missing that I know he appeared in, for whatever reason, he showed up in an issue of Deathstroke. So I think the sole issue that I know of before his comic was canceled that I know that he was in. um, I mean, I don't know. I'm happy that he's gotten the boot because after everything with I've said before on past streams, I mean, I don't know if I've said this every stream, but I've said before on past streams about how I got into getting current comics because of Rebirth and because of Wally West returning to the DC universe. I mean, I didn't ask who's going to take over. I'll get to that in just a second. Um, so I didn't, like I said, I didn't ask for like 2, 3 years of him constantly suffering. Okay, now to your question. Who's going to take over? Word is there had been rumors that Jim Lee is going to be taking over. Nothing's concrete yet. Don't you mean when Wally West turned white again? Well, I mean DC Universe Rebirth. Oh, it went up by 1%. The game loading it went up from 64 to 65. Yay. Um, I don't know about waiting 4 hours just to play the game, but that's good. Um, well, DC Universe Rebirth established that despite some stuff with continuity, and I guess their way of explaining it is something something New 52 reset something something. Um, but the comic established that the New 52 Wally West, or Wallace West as I call him sometimes, wasn't the pre-New 52 Wally West, so, and that they were cousins, so, which I'm fine with. I mean, right now, uh, Black Wally, or New 52, Wallace, whatever, he's limited to, just the Teen Titans book right now, as far as I know. But, I mean, I heard from a friend of mine, the Teen Titans book is actually pretty good right now. So I mean, I might. He sent me. This is the friend who sent me a whole bunch of issues that I was really happy that he sent me all those issues. So some of them included were some recent issues of the current Teen Titans run. So I might check that out, and if I like that, he can send me more. I believe that's a retcon because I remember differently from what they said earlier. Hello, Cyan. Hello. This might be more of a sort of like Q&A or just us talking about it because I thought because it said on the game that it would let me use it. I figured it would let me play the game. That it would let me play the game, and the extra amount of stuff would just be like the DLC and challenge packs and stuff. So, anyways, but I'm just now that he's out. I mean, now that he's out, I might actually, depending on, because that's the thing. Some people said that some of this crap was Didio's fault. Some people have said it was DC editorial. So even if Didio's out, it probably won't. If it's just him, and I'm afraid that this might end up being true. That it's if it's not him and it's editorial, then it means that nothing will be changing much for Dick Grayson or Wally West, which sucks. What do you think will be changed, retcon, or rebooted with Didio Khan? I don't know what will be changed, but um, what I'm hoping for, because from what I know, Didio was the one who got Bendis and Brian Michael Bendis, Brian Bendis, whatever, and Tom King involved with DC, and they ended up taking over the Superman and Batman books respectively. So King's out. Well, King's done with mainline Batman. Um, he's writing that a Batman Catwoman book that apparently is supposed to be like whatever shit he had left over for those last issues of Batman. Um, but because that's the thing. The reason why was because DC they noticed that because I think it was last April. I think was the announcement or it was like just after last April because they saw the comic sales and they saw that I think it was Immortal Hulk issue 17, I believe, actually outsold Batman. So it's like because of that, it's like okay, we need to get this writer out because it's like if this isn't gonna be the top selling book, then because Batman, during New 52, during all of this, has been their top selling book. It's like if that ends up getting outperformed, that's when they decide, oh, that's when we need to care about this or do something about this. Um, I would get Bendis off of Superman. I would get Bendis off of Young Justice. From what I've heard, that book he has Naomi. I heard is supposed to be pretty decent, so he can. I guess he can, and that's also a character he created too, so he can keep Naomi for as far as I'm concerned. But he's done like with me. If it were me, he would be done with Superman. He'd be done with Action Comics. He'd be done with Young Justice. He'd be done. Basically, he'd be done with everything except for like like the indie titles at DC or whatever that he's doing in Naomi. He can keep those. And if he ever gets any sort of like character, like he would get like a C-lister, if anything. People were saying what they should have done instead of giving him their top hero. He should have been given something like Cyborg or Supergirl or Blue Beetle. Those were still going at the time when, as far as I know, I think most of those were still going at the time when he was working, or when he got Superman. So Um, yeah, I would take Bendis off most of the stuff. King's already off Batman, so I don't have to do anything with that. I suppose I would probably let him write his Batman, Catwoman, whatever, and I would just have him be just done with that, like just done with that after. Um, most of his stuff, Dan Didiot is gone. Let's party, bitches. Yeah, let's party. Um, most of his like miniseries stuff, Mr. Miracle, I think was mixed. Some people liked it, some people didn't. Heroes in Crisis was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Um, I don't have any hope for Strange Avengers, not Avengers, Strange Adventures. But I don't know about that. I've heard G. Willow Wilson's. I was hearing today. Apparently, G. Willow Wilson's Wonder Woman apparently isn't that bad. Um, and back when I was in, and I could kind of confirm that because back when I was in my anti-SJW bubble before I got out and realized how before I realized how crazy some of them are and I needed to get out. Nobody in that bubble ever said anything. They never said anything negative about the book, about G. Willow Wilson Wonder Woman. They never said anything positive about the book. They never said anything. So I didn't know what the actual what the actual debate was. So my best guess is that she actually managed to write a good Wonder Woman run, but they didn't want to admit that. So instead, they couldn't say anything negative about the book because apparently they would have been proven wrong or something. But they didn't say anything positive either. And that's why I probably didn't. That's why I didn't hear anything out of most of the people there. Most of the people within that thing. So if she's actually doing a good job, then I would. I don't know. I guess she could keep writing Wonder Woman if she's doing a good job. Um, I guess she found her character that she could write that and not ruin. So that's good. That's good. That's improvement. That's good. Um, Kelly Sue DeConnick, I would probably. That's another case where I think I've heard a few people hate on it, but I don't think I've ever heard like anyone in the anti-SJW bubble say anything bad about it. I've seen a couple people say or any people saying it's good or it's bad, but I think I've seen a few people say it's bad. I think is what I heard. I'd probably take her off of Aquaman. Um, as for characters, um, I would, I would finally put this whole Rick Grayson thing to bed. And not have it come back anytime soon. Apparently, there was an annual where he was like starting to remember stuff and he was starting to get his personality back, but apparently he'll still be Rick Grayson for another couple months, which is dumb, but whatever. Um, I would bring Dick Grayson back if this was me. I would bring Dick Grayson back. I'd give him a new run. I've heard the writer's good, but the writer's stuck. This is like that case of Villain Cassandra back in Pre-New 52, where the writer was actually a good writer, but after he was done writing this run, this was a case of where it wasn't the writer's fault, it was editorial. I don't know who wrote Villain Cass, but I do know that he said after he was finished writing it that he didn't know, he never got a good reason from DC why Cassandra had to be a villain during whatever year it was, I think 2008 or whenever it was when she was a villain. That they never gave him a good enough reason, and they never said why it was a good idea, because people liked her as a hero. They didn't want her as a villain. So, they never said why, which is really. And they never gave a reason why it was good. Um, I would love to make a webcomic that has a female lead protagonist who is a leader in a team that mostly has boys in it, but it won't be woke. Oh, that sounds interesting. Um, what else was there? Wally West, I would get rid of because apparently they've said some stupid shit that about Doctor Manhattan that apparently he's another Doctor Manhattan now. Except he's not blue or bald or naked, so the only difference is that he has a variation of his rebirth suit, but it's blue now. Um, but I suppose I recently found out that I guess towards the end of Flash Forward number 6, uh, Jay and Iris, Wally's kids, have been brought back into continuity. have been brought back into continuity, and his wife, Linda, remembers everything. So she remembers that him and her were married. She remembers that they had kids. She remembers all of it, and her and the kids reunited. So it seems, it seems. I'm guessing the writer, I guess, like he had to throw people, he had to throw Wally fans a bone. He had to throw them a bone and say, hey, you're getting closer. You're getting closer to getting what you really want. DC won't let me give you what you want. But I'm gonna, I guess to him, it's like, I'll, like, give you something where it's like, hey, like, you're getting closer. You're getting closer to getting a Wally West family book. Um, um, you're getting closer to a Wally West family book or Wally J. Iris whatever book. Maybe Impulse too, because they brought Impulse back. Um, and stuff. And you're getting closer. So as soon as he's not Dr. Manhattan anymore, if they just let him be that for a little bit, don't have him be a villain, don't turn him into full on villain, he'll have his family back. And you'll be happy. And there will be balance in the world once more. I didn't want to read Wonder Woman because I feel like in this modern time, they will F her up. Maybe I'll check out G. Willow Wilson run by of shoot. I'll have to get my tablet. It has a prototype name called Product Galaxy. The protagonist is my OC name or OC character, Starla Blau. Oh, that's cool. Let me get my tablet so that way then I can read the comments fully. By Wonder Woman but only to see how she'll mess it up. Project Galaxy. Cool. That sounds cool. Well, I've apparently heard that apparently it's not crap. So, and given that I haven't heard any of the anti-SJWs that are saying that comics are getting woke or anything, given the fact that I haven't heard any of them say anything about this run, positive or negative, it must be, I don't know. Which is ironic because a lot of the anti-SJWs, they were full-on supportive of the Wonder Woman movie, but they won't say anything about the comic, so I don't know what's going on. I guess it's something needs to fit their narrative, something, I don't know. Um. Okay, so going back onto that. My take on 5G, I would probably give a bunch of the existing diverse characters new ongoings with good writers. I would give like Cassandra Cain an ongoing. Black Lightning could get an ongoing, um, or a mini series or something. Um, they could do something with Ryan Choi, Adam. Uh, I mean they got John Stewart Green Lantern. Cyborg's comic didn't sell well, but I don't know if that could, if doing a new thing and maybe having, or they could have it be Cyborg and Beast Boy. They could have like it could either be an ongoing or it could be a mini series or maxi series called Cyborg and Beast Boy because of them being friends and stuff. Um, Also another thing I would do, I would finally let Milestone Comics do their fucking Earth M thing, their Earth M universe thing with Static and the other Milestone heroes. They announced that shit. They announced that what 3 years ago, 4 years ago. They announced that all this time ago. They gave like 2 years ago. They gave descriptions of the launch comics, and people have been waiting forever. They want Static. People want Static. I would like to get to read this Static comic, but they refuse. Whatever, they refuse to release it. Granted, I mean it's probably contract issues and stuff because it's not actual. It's not like DC characters. It's Milestone. But I mean, the longer. I mean, this was like something going back 3 4 years when this was announced. And the fact that they keep waiting. They keep waiting. Freaking like 3 4 years. The longer they wait on it, it just. I mean, call me whatever, but I mean, the longer they take their time on it, the more racist it makes them look. It can be. I'm just saying it can be taken as racist. I'm not saying they're a racist company. I'm just saying the longer they take their time on this, unless they're afraid those books will be woke. But I mean, while Milestone Media has never been that crazy, as far as I know. So I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, some people could say, I mean, right now, I mean, unless 5G can make more um, female-led ongoings, they're down now. I think all they have left, that's like with the cancellation of Supergirl, all they have left is I think Wonder Woman, Batgirl, and Harley Quinn, and I think one other book that isn't canon to DC, but it's like being published by DC, and that's it. 4 books. 4 books. I mean, they have other female characters, and it's just weird. There are people that did the Fourth Age, pointed to the Just War story arc. There was election in a foreign country of a small group wanted to split the country because they lost. Wonder Woman helped the separate. Okay, so well, okay. Let me rephrase what I said before. I think diversity in comics. I think talked about the first issue of G Willow Wonder Woman, but I didn't see anybody else say anything about it. Granted, I haven't looked up anything recently, but I mean, at the time when this was coming out, leading up to it, people were like, no, no, you cannot have her on it. But after she released her comics, it seemed like everybody shut up about it. So I didn't know if it was good or if she ended up surprising people or if some people didn't really care about Wonder Woman after all. because I find it weird that they had this fit over an understandable fit over her being on the book, on the Wonder Woman book. But then she gets on the book and there isn't an outrage. There isn't people upset. I was frustrated. I mean, the only reason why I didn't do a lot of it is because I didn't read the book. I didn't want to pick up her like a book written by her. So I didn't say anything about it, but I mean, other people should have said more about it. So I find it weird. It seems the only time when people care about Wonder Woman, or some of them at least, the only time when some of them, be they anti-SJW or SJW, is whenever the new movie comes out. Project Galaxy is going to be a crossover web comic series. Think Powerpuff Girls D by Bleed Man, but not bad. Okay. There was I Love Comics that talk about it, but he mixed them with other vids. Spirit Comic, he is also anti-SJW. There's Comic Boom. There are more people than the big names. Okay. I don't think I searched for like channel creators, but also Bianca fighting zombie. Okay. I didn't really search channels, but I mean I searched like G Willow Wonder Woman and I searched Wonder Woman comic and stuff like that, and I didn't see anything. Comic University. So they all said that the run was bad? It's crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, even with like, I already made up my mind last year. I was done with DC. I was done with DC. I think all I had left from them that I was reading at the time when Heroes in Crisis was coming out, I think was, what was it? Detective Comics. I know I was reading that. Well, I gotta go. Bye. Okay, see you later, Cyan. I don't watch every channel. I just know that they talk about them. Okay. Um. Shoot. Content will be unlocked. Okay, that seems rather specific. So I don't know if I could be able to access the game now. I'll check in a minute. Um. But shoot. What was with with Supergirl canceled, because all it means now is that it's just because people even brought up. I mean, like, they're down to 3 books. I'm surprised that I would have figured that they would have done a new Birds of Prey ongoing, because film synergy. They didn't do that. They just did I think they did like a one shot or a mini series that was kind of a superior comic version of the movie, where it was Harley Quinn working. And all it really is just Harley Quinn working with the Birds of Prey, and it's, instead of Barbara Gordon Batgirl, it's Cassandra Cain. Granted, Cassandra had a better role, from what I've heard, in the comic over the movie. In the comic, she was like bodyguard to Harley Quinn in the comic, which isn't a bad thing because it doesn't degrade her character any. If you're wondering, I sub to over 400 channels from points of view in many different subjects. Also, I don't remove. Let me find all chat on all chat. Also, don't remove those that get deleted. Okay. Anyways. But like I said, I'm surprised that they didn't give Birds of Prey a new ongoing. They had one that was when Rebirth launched, that was Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, but that got canceled I think a year or so before the movie came out. Well, like 2 years before the movie, I believe. So and this is like it was a surprise when I heard that they were um I think it was back in 2018 they ended the Green Arrow comic, the Green Arrow ongoing. I was like, well, that's odd because Arrow's still going. I figured they would have kept it going because of Arrow. But I guess because I think it was the New 52 writer. He wrote New 52 Green Arrow, and then they kept him for Rebirth Green Arrow. So I guess my best guess is I guess he was just wrote everything he wanted to write for Oliver Queen, and then he just was like, I'm done after this issue. And I guess they couldn't find another writer who wanted to write Green Arrow, so that's why they just ended the book. Hey, did they have Wonder Woman justify the murder of the Amazon men's yet? Was that in Rebirth or was that in New 52? I remember in New 52 they made the Amazonians. They made the Amazonians rapist murderers. That they went and like they would go and like any men that were like on ships or whatever, they would kidnap the men, rape them, and then kill them. That was in New 52. Is that what you're talking about? Because Rebirth, if that's what you're talking about, Rebirth retcon that because um, they said something that in the first arc of Wonder Woman Rebirth, they had Greg Rucka come back to write Wonder Woman for like 20 issues, and he wrote that the majority of Wonder Woman New 52 wasn't real or it was a lie or something. And the stuff that after Diana, they said something after Diana left the mascara that anything else, like any of the times when she returned to the mascara in New 52 or whatever it was, that it wasn't, that it was like an illusion and that it wasn't real or something, and that it just, that none of the stuff, that the basically the majority of the comic was basically retconned into not even being a thing. So from what I can tell with Rebirth Wonder Woman, um, that whole thing was retconned, and that they made it where the Amazonians on Themyscira weren't murdering rapists anymore. The Amazon children that were born male and were sold as slaves to Hippolytus, I heard they brought that back. Wow. That is crazy. Weird thing is, why would they even be having children, though? Why would they be even having children? Aren't they immortal? They were like immortal. They were immortal women on their paradise island. They have each other. They don't need, as far as I know. I mean, other than, oh shoot, Hippolyta. Other than Hippolyta, because Hippolyta wanted a daughter, and that was where Wonder Woman came in. And then, depending on the origin, she was either made from clay and brought to life, or she was the secret love child. Like, that was the original continuity, was that she was born from clay. New 52 set it up where, since it was the universe reset and there were changes that happened, they revealed that Hippolyta and Zeus did it, and they had a secret love child, and that was Diana. Well, it wasn't secret love child. She had Wonder Woman. I think they sort of brought back the whole thing that she was made from clay, but as a lie. That was what the movie did too. That was what the Wonder Woman movie did too, is because they said that they went and said that she was born from clay, and then at the end of the movie, it was revealed that she was the daughter of Zeus, meaning she would be half god or demigod. Which I don't mind that, because I find the demigod stuff interesting. Because DC has their version of like Zeus and Hercules. She also had a brother. Oh yeah, that's right. They Rebirth set that up. Rebirth set up that she had a brother named Jason. That they were twins. Did they ever follow that up, or did they ever, like? Is he even in the comic right now? Because I know they set that up. I know that they showed him. They showed what he looked like. I think he was like a mechanic. I think. I don't know if they ever met though, or if they ever did anything with that. Okay, so I can't play it right now. Okay. They should have. They should have had it be ambiguously. They could be telling the truth, could be not. Yeah, that's fine too. I thought it was interesting that they introduced her having a brother though. I think they did follow it up. He was training or guarded by Hercules. Cool. Because I remember reading, I had gotten like the first 2 or 3 issues of Wonder Woman Rebirth, but then when the other comics came out, the stuff that I really wanted to read came out, I dropped Wonder Woman. It was the same with Batman. It was the same with Aquaman. It was like the first few issues I had gotten of those I read, and then when the stuff I was interested in came out, I dropped those and got the stuff I was interested in. Because I think the longest I stuck with a with a DC book, issue wise at least, I think was Nightwing. Nightwing, I have all of the issues by that first writer of the Rebirth run, and I think he wrote. I don't know if he wrote. I think Tom King did Grayson. I think not. I think Tom King did Grayson. I think Tim Seeley was the writer who did the first Nightwing Rebirth run, which was like 24 issues, I believe, or 28. But I think it's a cross between. Let me see. I think Nightwing, New Superman, and I think Detective Comics. I think were the longest that I had a book. did you hear about why Amazon fear dolls and consider it a bad sign? It said that Amazons who want children, so instead they have dolls that they treated as real children, and they sometimes go crazy. Wow, that's that's intense. That's a bit extreme. I mean, I figured if the Amazonians, if they ended up having male children, that they would just the male children would be exiled off of the mascara or something. They wouldn't go in and turn them in, like have them sent off as slaves. That's crazy. I think that's like, even when I was still getting DC, I think the one book that I wanted to get back into for a while was Batman Beyond, because I had gotten like 16 or 17 issues of Batman Beyond. And then I dropped it, and then I dropped it at a bad time because then they were starting to introduce Beyond versions of some of the other Batman villains. Like they did Scarecrow Beyond, and I think they did Riddler Beyond. They did a couple of Beyond versions of the villains, and it was like, and then part of the story is who are they? Because it's not Jonathan Crane as Scarecrow Beyond. It's not Edward Nygma as Riddler Beyond. If they did Riddler, and I kind of regret that I didn't get back into the run when I did. I'm thinking about getting the trades, but Volume 2 of the Rebirth run of Batman Beyond. Granted, I have the issues collected, but the trade for whatever reason on Amazon is like $40. So I don't know why if they're gonna reprint it or if that particular volume is harder to find. I mean, the only other option I have, I'd have to look at Barnes and Noble and hope and pray that they have it there. Because I want to collect. Because so far it's been one writer on Batman Beyond for the majority of the issues. It's been Dan Jurgens, and if I remember correctly, he wrote Death of Superman. So he's been writing this. He wrote the 16 issues of the New 52 run, which was Tim Drake as Batman, or like 30 something Tim Drake as Batman Beyond. And then they started the Rebirth run, and they brought back Terry McGinnis, and they had Terry be Batman again. Currently, they've done an interesting thing about that. Terry has been framed for murder, so he's on the run, and then apparently, in the meantime, that there is a mysterious woman who has taken up the suit. And it's not woke or identity politics or anything. It's just this big mystery of like, who is this woman? Who is she? What reason does she have to be whatever? And Terry's still in the book, I think, but he's just like in hiding from the police and stuff because he was framed for whatever. I mean, I get why they still call the comic Batman Beyond because of that, but I don't know if they're calling her, because I mean, it's obvious that they know that it's a woman because you could see the boobs. Like the figure is a woman's figure in the costume. So as long as like they're not still calling her, as long as they're not calling her Batman or Batman Beyond. Personally, I think it would make more sense if they called her like Batwoman, Batwoman Beyond, or whatever. Some Amazon heard an Amazon singing a lullaby to a doll. They broke into her house and tried to destroy it. The mother tried to save it, believing they were killing her kid, and she was killed because of it. Wow. Wowie, wowie, wow. It's crazy. One thing, it's only semi-related to everything going on, but apparently they demoted the Ruby ongoing. They demoted it to a 7-issue miniseries. So they did that, so I'm happy about that. Don't know what's going on with Genlock though, both the comic and the show. Because I think the comic is supposed to be set between season 1 and 2. I haven't heard any update about 2. So I don't know what's going on with that. They may have low-key canceled it. Let me look up the news about this. Because when they announced the Ruby comic, they announced it as an ongoing. They didn't say it was going to be a miniseries. Let's see. And I think the manga's still going too. The Ruby manga it's adapting volumes 1 and 2, and they've done or whoever the artist is who did that has done a way better job at the story and characters and stuff than Rooster Teeth ever will. Let me see. They announced 3 new Ruby related shows. What? First new show released this spring will be behind the scenes talk show. Okay, I don't care. Second members of Rooster Teeth Animation will possibly team up with special guests for a Ruby-inspired Dungeons and Dragons campaign that they will let fans watch. Okay, I don't care. Final new show will be a series of animated shorts. These shorts will tell the fairy tales present in the world of Ruby. These tales are ones that the characters would have grown up with, and not the tales the characters are based on. The Untitled series will feature new 2D mixed media style of animation, so I'm intrigued as to what that means. You'll be able to find us later in 2020 with more information said to be coming soon. Okay. This Ruby comic is random, but I hear some things are good and better than the show, and some stuff they do not follow canon as well as bad. The only noteworthy thing that I've been able to find out about this show is that they finally show Weiss's mother. That's it. That they finally show her mother, and they finally named her mother. They finally gave her a name. Because I don't think they gave her a name in the show. She was just Weiss's mother. So they showed her mother in the comic, but they have yet to show her in the show. And I think the comic takes place between volumes 3 and 4, I think. Okay, so looking up something about Genlock. Okay, so Genlock Season 2 starring Michael B. Jordan will get HBO Max premiere. Okay, so Season 2 of Genlock will premiere. I'm looking up an article by Variety. Will premiere on HBO Max and have an exclusive 90-day run on the service. The company didn't announce a release date. After the 90-day window at HBO Max, the series will be available on Rooster Teeth's first subscription streaming service. Okay. Okay, so Woke Gundam is continuing, I guess. In the comic, her mother is a fun drunk and a bit of a dick. The Ruby show made her a victim and sad all the time. Yeah, and that's why that's one thing. That was the thing, was that the show, like, and that's the thing. Not even the comic that's supposed to be canon to the show isn't even consistent. I mean, Volume 4, through the other characters, it was never outright said. It was never outright said, but it was very heavily alluded that her mother would drink because of her fucked up family, because of her very screwed up family. The husband is a monster. The husband is an abusive monster because he slapped Weiss a couple times. Husband is an abusive monster. The son is a dick. The older sister, the son, not Wesley, whatever the hell his name was, Whitley, I think. The son is a dick. And the only reason why he's a dick is because he's trying to, he's trying to get daddy's attention. The older sister, Winter, she left because she couldn't deal with all that shit. And it's just Weiss. Let's party indeed. Hello, Tevye. So, and now I'm hearing that apparently the comic version of Weiss's mom, she's like a fun party girl drunk. Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Except, I mean, you would think realistically, she would be like drunk with sorrow. Like she would drink just to have the pain go away or something. So, okay, so Genlock, I guess, is continuing for whatever reason. Only reason why I've been talking about Ruby and Genlock is because they're technically DC Comics. Well, they are DC Comics, but I mean, the Ruby comic is going to be ending, and I don't know what's going on with the Genlock comic. It's crazy though. Like, I mean, it's crazy that like all this crap and this like, and it's crazy thing was I had just talked about Didio today with the what's his name, Robert Welling, who has a comic channel on Twitter, and I said about how like it is like common knowledge at this point that Didio hates legacy characters. He hates Wally West. He hates Nightwing. He hates Tim Drake. I don't know if he specifically hates Cassandra Cain, but he's like she's been screwed before. So Robert Starcraft Welling, okay, and he has a channel I'm subscribed to. But we talked about that today. And it's crazy how we just talked about that today, and now he's out. Now he's done. They turned Weiss dad into Trump. Oh yeah, I heard about all that Trump allegory crap. Because they pulled that shit, that actually can debunk what they said about Monty Olam having a Bible, having a series planned for the show. I'll say why in just a minute. Who worked with the bad guys to still be the election? Yeah, I heard what they did to Crow. That was so stupid. What they did to Crow. But the reason why that debunks the thing about the series Bible is because of the fact I've heard from some people. I don't know if they were like fans. Like, I'm gonna say this now. Monty Ohm was a great dude, great guy, and he was very talented with fight choreography, especially animated fight choreography. He's a bit weak on story stuff though. But some people, I don't know if they were trying, because I don't know if this is legit. I don't know if this is true. Some people said that he wrote this alleged series Bible back in 2014. Some said, I believe that it was in 2015. I think that it was before. It was, I think, 2013 or 2014. It was a year or two before he passed away. And he spent like a full day with his girlfriend, or like a full weekend, writing down everything that was going to happen in the show. That was what I had heard. That was what was like everyone was saying. So the fact that they went and they pushed um, Trump allegories and all this shit and all this political shit, even considering the show was never about politics, it never went into politics. It it just, I mean, it kind of exposes them as lying about that they had a series Bible, or that they were following a series Bible, because of the fact, depending on what year he wrote it, Trump wasn't even president. He wasn't even going up for president. So if they were really following this series Bible, then if it either means that they lied about this series Bible, or they went and they did a very significant change for whatever volume 7 was going to have. It's like I keep imagining, like, with that she noob girl who is a fan of Ruby. Like, you try explaining that to her, and she'll probably either block you, or she'll find some way to say, "Oh, you're homophobic, or you just don't like Bumblebee," or whatever. I remember that because I've said before about, there was this one guy who's like thoroughly explaining why some of the Bumblebee shippers were crazy, and some of them act like a cult, not all of them. And she went and she blocked him, which was really stupid. Before, it sort of implied that it was because of the White Fang that would kidnap and kill their friends, work, or family. It made them very distant to each other and more colder. Okay, so who exactly? Who exactly would be like victimized into being like that? I guess her dad or something. I don't know anymore. Right now, I'm also looking up any other news, anything else I can talk about with DC. Oh, another thing that this means, because Dan Didio was working on he was working on a timeline for DC Comics for the whole history of like from the beginning, like the first heroes to be set up, and then like the latest ones. He was apparently setting up a timeline. So it seems now, now that he's been fired, I guess there isn't any. I guess this timeline won't be released. Knowing him and his hatred for Wally and Dick Grayson, he probably would have snubbed them. He probably would have just like said crap that, oh, Barry was the Flash the whole time. There was no 20 years of Wally comics. Or some crap like that. I don't know. I do know, from what I can tell, he was also writing a maxi series. He was writing a maxi series for a 12-issue maxi series for the Metal Men, which are another group of DC characters. And from what I can tell, I haven't heard anything that comic has been canceled. It's also a mini series, or it's also a maxi series, and I think 5 issues are already out. So my best guess is that they'll still release those comics, but my best guess is that'll probably be the last thing he does at DC. Well, that's not good. I'm looking up stuff that's in Marvel, and it says as a article about Hollywood Reporter how Marvel is reinventing Wolverine. Oh boy, he doesn't need to be reinvented. What the hell? So that the 5 generation, from what I heard, let me find a comment. Let me look it up on the thing. The 5th generation, from what I heard, it's Wonder Woman, the first hero, inspired everyone to be heroes, not Superman, who really did inspire all heroes. Well, I always believed, before I seriously got into comics, and I just knew about the characters. Let me sit down. Oh. I always thought that Superman was the first hero. Granted, if we're going by the timeline, then you would have to include Wonder Woman's time in like World War II fighting Hitler. So if we're looking at it like modern day, that would have happened first, and then the whole thing with Superman and Batman was later on in the timeline. Granted, as the years go by, they have to adjust, and it's the same thing with Marvel. They have to adjust the years, because if they went by real world time, I mean, many of these characters, except for Wonder Woman and any of the other DC Immortals, would be dead. So it makes sense, but it's too much like how they make Marvel Carol be the first Avenger and inspire the creation of the Avengers. I never thought, if we're talking about MCU Carol, that shit isn't canon. That whole thing of her being the first, like them saying if she was the first Avenger, like that shit doesn't make sense, especially considering the fact that the very first Captain America movie was called, or first Captain America MCU movie was called Captain America: The First Avenger. That's what it was called, and that's what they ended up. And even if you look at the timeline, his thing was in World War II in the 1940s, whenever, 1930s, 19, I think it was 1940s, yeah, 1940s. Her film is set in the 90s, so that's 5 decades after that. So if anything, she would be the second Avenger. She would be the first, like, I wouldn't even say she would be, I don't know if you would even say that she'd be the first female Avenger. Because I don't think, well, then again, I don't think original Ant-Man and original Wasp, because I know they were set up, they had it in the 60s in the MCU, but I don't think that they were ever considered. They were Avengers in the comics, but I don't think they were ever categorized as Avengers in the movie. So I guess if we're going based on MCU stuff, Captain America would be the first Avenger, and Captain Marvel would be the first female Avenger. Granted, it's still a retcon, and I don't think that movie's canon anyways, because it kind of brings down Winter Soldier, because of the whole thing when Fury said about how last time I trusted somebody I lost an eye, and then Captain Marvel stupidly made it that dumbass alien cat scratched his eye out. Like, you would think, like, when you watch it, you would think it's like some guy or somebody, like, who he was partners with betrayed him, and it caused him, like, in the MCU, it caused him to lose his eye. Like, that was what I figured the first time when I watched the movie. I mean, nobody expected that a freaking alien cat scratched his eye out. Hopefully that cat won't even come back. I'm just, ugh, just so frustrating. I have this going a little bit longer because I've been talking now for an hour, and I might just watch because Nightwing 01, K-Wing 01, he has a live stream talking about it right now, about Dan Didio. And I'd say he's more into this whole thing because he's been reading DC. I would say, is stronger than I am regarding DC because he stuck with DC during a lot of this. He's been reading DC, I think, since like the 80s, I think, 80s, 90s, and he's stuck with them all this time, even during New 52, um, even after all the shit that they did with Nightwing multiple times. I'm lagging in some parts of the vid. Well, I was already thinking about probably wrapping this up in just a minute, and I might just join in K-Wing's stream while it's still going. But I guess I'll hold off playing Arkham City until tomorrow. And I guess I'll see where I'll just play. Because what I was planning on doing tonight, I was going to do, because I remember when I got Arkham City before, when I got it last year, actually, I had the game before on Wii U, so this was me just getting back into a game that I once had. Um, but when I was playing this on PS4, I completed the main plot, but I didn't complete all of the side quests. So the stream was going to be, the stream was going to be me just doing the side quest while talking about all this. But I guess I'll hold off on that until tomorrow. Tomorrow or sometime this weekend, I'll do a stream of me playing the side quests, and then I guess we could talk more about with Didio and whatever then, and what we hope to see come from come into like, or what changes will be made and what changes we want from this happening. There's a lot of crazy stuff that's been happening because yesterday was the Animal Crossing Nintendo Direct, and then today, just today alone, Clone Wars came back with the premiere episode. There was this Nickelodeon cartoon called Glitch Tech, and that dropped the season on, like, the whole season on Netflix. And now there's all this going on with Didio. That's just crazy. This is a lot happening. Anyways, I guess I'll get ready and I'll wrap this up. I don't know if Tevy's still here or if he left. He joined in briefly. But I guess I'll get ready and wrap this up, and I'll just do I'm thinking tomorrow what I might do is, I don't know, I'll either do an Arkham City where I just play the side quest, or I might just be on Twitter. I could do like what I did before, and I could just do a Twitter stream, and I can search Dan Didio in the search engine. I can see all the comments from people and read off all the comments and stuff. See if there's any funny ones. That ought to be cool. I could just do that for a little bit tomorrow. Anyways, but thank you everyone for joining in. And I guess I'll do some more stuff tomorrow. Thank you all for joining. And this is Edward West Summers signing out. Bye.